on the Kiwi.
The Geek Show.
Yes, joining me from Mohawk Studios, it is MsBehaviour this morning from thegeekshow.com. 2 3s rather than 2 E's. Morning, Ms. B.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. Very well indeed. And of course, this is the Geek Show, but also the final Big Idea, your column at thebigidea.co.nz as well.
Yeah, that's right. I'm finally wrapping up the MsBehaviour files after 3 years of covering, what we were calling Web 2.0, but, quite grateful that we're now finally just calling it the web again.
Yeah, it's been an interesting, like a year in internet time is almost decades for any other technology.
Hugely, and we really have seen an enormous transition over the past 3 years away from, traditional business models and structures and practices and tools like everybody going into an office, everybody running their software on a desktop machine, to people now moving online to the web top or what people call the cloud, which is things like Google Docs and Gmail, so that more and more people now can work and play and stay connected through mobiles, on the road, and also through home studios. I mean, more and more companies now are finally, I've been a teleworker for well over a decade.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic website called telework.co.nz in this country if you're interested in looking into the huge advantages and cost savings for both the companies and also for employees. So, it's been a massive transition time, and I really, really think it's benefited people hugely. And I'm no longer worried about my hard drive crashing like happened a few years ago, and we lost all of our company data, because it's all backed up now on the web and on the cloud.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So we've had this Web 2.0 thing, and alongside that has been this idea of the cloud as well.
That's right, and the concept that you distribute your processing across servers online instead of having to buy super grunty, really expensive machines to run it. And I still think it's a little bit of a both. People do still need to use desktop machines for high processing things, but in terms of work, day-to-day work practices, there are so many fantastic tools now to support what are the majority of businesses, which are small to medium-sized companies. So I think it's been a really, really interesting 3 years. It very much reminds me of the 1999 to 2001 boom that we had as well, the sort of Web 1.0. But, forget the numbers, it's the web.
Yeah. In the bigidea.co.nz itself, is that an example of what we've just been talking about, this this idea of working remotely?
Definitely. I mean, the site when I first came on board was on an old platform which was built around the turn of the century, around 2000. And since I've been working on the project as their strategist and economist, we've moved on to a Drupal site, which is so much more powerful, so much more flexible. It's really enabling the community to knit together. And that's right. I mean, I've been writing and doing the shows with you for the MsBehaviour Files and the Geek Show from home studios in Waitakere for 3 years. The Big Ideas editor, she lives up in the bush by the sea in Lee. And I'd say most of the Big Idea community all over the world, we've got views outside our studios that most of the world would envy. And this is wonderful. There's no more having to be in a specific location at a specific time to do your work and work globally.
Absolutely. Are we able to go and do a roundup now, do you think, of kind of the top applications and places on the web to go over the past 3 years?
Definitely. What I've done, and I've published, this will be up at the Big Idea tomorrow, and I've also published it at the Geek Show website, but I thought as a roundup I would go through all of my files, so I've written about 50 of them, and they're all still available at thebigidea.co.nz, and they're full of links and resources and about all of the research that I've done over the past 3 years. It's all going to be there. So, but I thought have a look through and come up with my top 20 tools, which are the 20 tools that I or we either use at Mohawk Media regularly, daily, or are tools that we're going to start using to put out more of our own artworks. Because
it's got to be a tough choice, though, to make the choice between all those applications and websites.
It was, actually. I mean, there's some meaty ones. I'm just looking from the top. You've got for mail, Gmail. I absolutely love it because of its, it's so sophisticated, so powerful, and I never see spam anymore. Up for administration, I use Google Docs for docs and spreadsheets. RSS Reader, I've been using a tool called Feedly, which is absolutely fantastic, and that also hangs off your Google account. Twitter, I've just started using a new Twitter tool called Hootsuite. I have been using T-Wheel for a while, but I've been looking for something that's got more in it, and Hootsuite's fantastic.
What's good about it? Because I haven't had a look yet.
What I like about it, it is a web-based tool. So unlike T-Wheel, which is an Air application that has to run on your machine, you can just go in and log in from anywhere. But what I like about it is, as well as the functionality to basically follow your Twitter stream and your communications, it's got statistics in there. It's got the ability to pre-write tweets and then send them later, so you can time date them, which is brilliant if you're going to be away at a conference, for example, and you want to keep some content going through your stream.
Yeah.
And it's just got really good features and functionality, and I like the fact that I can access it through a browser on any internet-based machine. So yet again, it's my next step from using T-Wheel, which is running on a machine here, to Hootsuite, which is on the web.
Yeah. Cool. What else we got?
We've also got voice calls, obviously voice and video calls, Skype, which is what we're using now to do this radio show. So hello to everybody who's listening live as well out on Kiwi FM.
Yeah.
Project management. Now, this is a tool I've been using for quite a few years, and I always say it saves me having to pay a producer. It's Basecamp. It's one of the 37 Signals tools, and it's fantastic. Really simple. They also have a couple of others which fit in to manage your contacts and stuff. So well worth having a look at Basecamp. Online backups. Really useful thing to do, especially if you're moving files around and you want to sync from other machines. There's a great tool called Mozy.com. Browser. I love Firefox for many reasons. The fact that it's customizable, and you can basically set it up to do whatever you need to do, whatever your particular bent is.
Yeah.
Invoicing. I have a really good invoicing tool called blinksale.com, and that's very useful because it lets me send professional-looking invoices. I can chase people really easily with just sending a quick email. It lets me keep a track of what I've invoiced to date, and yeah, it's been great. Also, finance and accounting. We're about to move on to this because we're shifting down to Wellington for 2010. So one of the tools I'm definitely going to be using next year for running the business is Xero. That's Xero.com, made in Wellington. And it's an online accounting system. Again, it means you don't actually have to pay for an accounts department.
Yeah, totally.
It's really sophisticated. Yeah, it syncs in with your bank accounts. You can send invoices through it. It keeps, your depreciation, all that kind of gnarly figure stuff you have to do with running a business.
Yeah.
Xero is brilliant for it. I think they're also bringing out a smaller version for individuals and small companies soon as well, which is good news. Web development, this is one that Calvin's thrown in, but it's a brilliant tool if you're trying to debug websites that he came across quite recently called Firebug. And again, all of these links are on the Geek Show website, so you can click through later. Then streaming, which is a tool that we are also using right now, which is Ustream.tv. So again, hello to everybody who's watching this on Ustream, wherever you are in the world. We'll be back again next week. If you want to do mobile streaming, I love it's such an amazingly simple tool. Qik.com, Qik.com. If you have an internet-enabled mobile phone and a Qik account set up, you can be streaming a live feed from your mobile phone from anywhere in the world that gives you a signal.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Now, these are tools now I'm going to talk about, but if you are artists and you want to publish your work using print-on-demand services or distribution services, these are the ones that we have either used and made money through, or we're about to start putting our artworks through over the next few months. So if you're a musician, you've got to use cdbaby.net. It's an amazing service. We released an album on CD Baby about 6 years ago, and we still get royalty checks of about $60 to $100, and we haven't promoted it ever. So, it works. They get into every digital download site on the planet, and I think you end up keeping about 96% of all the sales, not the other way around. You keep 96% of whatever you sell. So that's CD Baby. Then if you want to start selling T-shirts, Zazzle.com, Zazzle.com, is absolutely brilliant. You can do T-shirts, hats, bags, calendars, all sorts of cool things, even shoes and skateboards. So awesome.
Brilliant. So we've got to number 15 on the list, and I guess if people want to see the full entire list and the rest of the links, they're up at the thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's, and also at thebigidea.co.nz.
That's right, and we'll be popping this podcast